Hey YouTubers, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to do a quick video response to Spellerine's most recent thread. And he's trying to get something started here, which I've seen a couple people do before but never really caught on, so I hope it definitely does this time. But just kind of basically here in the vinyl community doing an album review of some individual albums, getting a little more in-depth about our feelings and opinions and stuff like that, which I think, again, it's a great idea, so I want to put my 2 cents in on it. And Spellerine started here with this album, which is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band by the Beatles. And so that's the one he decided to do first. And so as far as copies, I do have this copy here, which is a Capitol release copy. Very, very good condition. Then I also have this one that I picked up at a flea market for only $5, which is nice. Also in pretty much near mint condition. And this is the original Masters recording, which I think was pressed in, I want to say 85 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but so I do have 2 copies of the album. Favorite songs on the album for me would be really the first 4. The rest of the album I honestly could completely do without. So Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, A Little Help from My Friends, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and Getting Better are definitely my favorite 4 songs off of this album. Issues that I have with this album, when you look at a lot of those, Rolling Stone's greatest 100 albums of all time and blah, 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 this is always on there. It always tends to be the top Beatle album that's on a lot of those lists. So it always tends to fall in, the top 10 greatest albums of all time. For me, it's nowhere close to that. And I guess that goes back to also just the way I feel about the Beatles. When I think about all the bands I love, the Beatles are not an A band for me. I think about it in terms of, A, B, C, D, F, and there's not an A band for me. In terms of their history, legacy, importance to music, and all of that stuff, they're A+ band to me, probably on top of just about everybody else out there. But in terms of just how much I like their music and how important their music is to me as an individual, they are definitely not an A+ band for me. And there's a couple of reasons why, but I think over the course of time what I've come to discover, and I think this album is a good representation of why I have a hard time connecting with the Beatles. They have very, good, fun-loving, kind of poppy music, but I think it gets so poppy and so fun-loving to my ears that it starts to sound like something I might hear on a kid's CD, like a CD or a record or album that's put together for kids. And I think something about that it makes it very hard for me to connect with the Beatles. And I think that's also a reason why I have a hard time connecting with songs on this album. Even when I think about songs, like I said, I like A Little Help from My Friends, I mean, yeah, it's a good song, and I like it, but I think I like it even more because of what, Joe Cocker did to it. When you see his performance of that song at Woodstock, it's just so far from the soft poppiness of the Beatles version, and I think for whatever reason, I just don't connect with that type of music that well. So, that's really my hardest piece with dealing with this album, and a lot of the Beatles albums in general. And it's also why Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band is my favorite song off of this album, because it's one of the more, to my mind, rockish type songs that are actually trying to, play rock and roll music. So, again, that's just my interpretation of the songs and everything else. It's not an insult to them at all. It's just what I hear, what I feel, what I connect with, what I can't connect with. But, so kind of moving on, other things that Spellerine asked about, like the cover art, something to talk about. I mean, cover art, this is absolutely classic. I mean, this has to be one of the most recognizable covers of all time. And I think anytime you can make a record where you can have it sitting 7 yards across the room and people could recognize and know exactly what it is, that to me is what the cover art is all about, is burning an image in your mind to where you automatically associate it with a certain album, and this does it as well as any cover has ever done. So you definitely have to give it A+ for that. I've already kind of said what I get out of the album, my favorite songs and everything. But I mean, for the most part, that's kind of my feelings about Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. I left a little note to Spellerine saying I wish he wouldn't have started with a Beatles album, because I know I tend to have a few things that people consider to be negative about the Beatles, but you know, I respect the guys. I do like a lot of their different things, and you've seen in my videos I have a lot of their stuff in my collection, so that's the Beatles. So anyway, as always, let me know what you guys think, and I look forward to the next one popping up. Maybe I'll kind of sit around and think about it a bit and put an album up to kind of start a similar thread, because again, I think this is one we could knock out really quick. So thanks guys, and I'll talk to you soon.